what I want to know first, and I'm sorry if some of this is retread for you, like when I'm sitting with somebody, but I want to know just personally, how did you go from beauty pageants to how did you even get into TV? Because I don't think you have any family history of show business, right?
No.
Zero.
My parents were immigrants from Greece. We used to clean nightclubs throughout Boston. Funny enough, did you ever play like the Channel or anything in Boston?
No, I played Paradise.
Paradise. Was that, what club was that? That was called Paradise?
It was the club when I was first starting out.
Okay.
In fact,
but you had to play somewhere else in Boston, too.
Well, I played, but that was when I first started, and then things happened for me so fast that I went from this little club called Paradise
the Garden.
To the Garden to Great Woods, which is, I don't know if that's still called Great Woods. The whatever that arena is, the Garden, whatever. Okay. All the bigger venues.
Boston Garden.
The Boston Garden.
Okay.
Wicked.
That's so funny. So we used to clean all the nightclubs around Boston, and
when you say clean them.
Yeah, my parents were the janitors. And so we'd be there at 5 a.m, every day, 365 days a year.
Wow.
7 days a week.
So they had their own company? Or they worked for another company?
It was just my mom and dad. They just would clean. We cleaned the Channel, which was like the biggest hard rock nightclub. So like the B-52s and Roy Orbison and all these people came through there. And we would clean them. And so from the time I could hold the broom, my brother and I would be helping because it was the only way we would get out of there. So we'd be there 365 days a year. If we ever wanted to see daylight or friends or family, you got to pick up that broom and start cleaning as fast as you can. And then we would go to other ones and office buildings and just, the whole thing.
Wow.
So we had zero connections to the business. And then my cousin went to high school with my now husband. And at some point, he came out to LA and worked at MTV, was head writer, and came back to Boston to make a movie. At that time, I was doing makeovers at the Chanel counter in Lord & Taylor in Copley Square. And
how old are you now?
I'm 18.
Oh, okay.
And my cousin calls me and he says, hey, that buddy of mine is coming back to make his movie. You should work on it. And I was like, no, I'm going to go to Spain this summer. Had no idea how I was going to get to Spain, but I was going to go to Spain.
When you said work on it, sorry to interrupt you, work on it meaning do
whatever.
Acting? Or?
No, like PA work, probably.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so at first I had kind of had my mind set on going to Spain and immersing myself in the language because I was taking Spanish. And then I was like, wait a second, make a movie. Yeah, okay. So I started working on the movie, and that was it. Somebody who worked on the movie sent us a message saying that he was working at this place called Channel One News in Los Angeles, and they're looking for TV anchors, but it's young kids, like doing the news, almost like a CNN for kids.
Okay.
And Kevin helped me put an audition tape together, and then I ended up getting the job and moving to LA, and from there, that was it. But I did beauty pageants. I did 2 beauty pageants in the interim while I was in high school, and then my first year of college. So those were like stepping stones.
You were Miss Boston? Or?
I was Miss Massachusetts, Teen USA.
Really?
And then...
was it fun?
Yeah, it was. I mean, listen, it's like when you have big dreams and that's the most accessible thing you can do. It was like I learned so many things about presentation and organization, all those things that you need to kind of present yourself, properly, and public speaking and things like that. So it was incredible training ground. And,
What were the big dreams at that point when you say you had big dreams?
I wanted to come to LA, and I wanted to be on TV, and I wanted to be so many things at once.
But when did that start? When I
was 13.
Do you remember what prompted it?
I really loved watching the news. I loved watching Joan London at the time on Good Morning America. But I also loved acting and singing and hosting and all of those things. I wanted to do everything, but that stuff was illegal in my dad's brain. The only thing he would accept was the news because it was serious and it was respectable, and he was so scared of the entertainment industry. Now I know why.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. And thank you, God, for letting me come unscathed. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it your way. I'm going to go to Emerson College. I'll study broadcast journalism. And then, once I'm 18 and I can maneuver my way into the things I want to do, I'll do the things I want to do. And so I ended up doing everything I wanted to do. I've done a little bit of everything at this point. I
was going to ask you if you feel like your background, your Greek background, your heritage played any kind of role in your choices but it sounds like, and I don't want to answer the question for you, but it sounds like if anything, it would have gone against you pursuing something like that, because your dad was like, you got to do something reliable. That's you can't make a living at that in show business, and that's what crazy people do.
Well, he never thought about it like that. He was just scared of me and LA and all the things that you heard of, all the bad stories of drugs and sex and all this stuff. But funny enough, John Stamos was one of the beacons of light. I'm like, oh, he's Greek and he made it. And I used to watch him on Full House. And so I thought that was pretty cool. And I just kept telling my dad, I was like, Dad, you raised me well. I will be fine. And that was that. And here's the thing. The crazy part is, up until a few years ago, I was like, what was he talking about? Everything is fine. There's nothing going on. And then now we see all the stuff that's been going on.
Really? So it's recent for you? That eye-opening has been kind of recent for you?
Yeah. I'm so excited that I was never a popular kid in school or in this business, because if I was, I might have been exposed to some scary stuff. I'm so grateful.
But if you were 18 when you got the job at Channel 1?
No, I was 20-ish, 21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you did a couple years of college.
Yeah.
You come out to LA when you're 20, 21.
And I came with Kevin, so I also had some grounded support. I wasn't
been with Kevin
single.
Since you were
19.
19?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. So, okay, well then that is a dynamic that probably, did you ever break up at any point? Okay. So that's a dynamic that makes your story different, I bet. If you were completely single, it might have
100%.
It definitely would have been
would have fallen into nefarious hands for sure.
Well, so...
Because there were too many. I just didn't know it.
Right. But also, Kevin can't be everywhere at all times.
Oh, no.
So
when certain people would invite me to the peninsula, I would always be like, Kevin, you're coming.
Right.
I didn't know why. I just didn't want to be alone.
Right.
I was always nervous. And so Kevin would come with me.
That must have started immediately when you came to LA. What was your first job on that TV show? Were you interviewing people, or were you just reporting news?
I was reporting news, interviewing people, and then I went to Entertainment Tonight from there.
How soon?
I'm within a year and a half.
Okay, so my question is, when you get to LA and you start doing that first gig, are you already immediately thinking, this is cool, but I see myself doing something bigger? Did the
I've
dreaming...
I've never plotted anything. I've always said, I've always prayed, I'm like, God, I have no idea where I'm supposed to go. Just take me where I'm supposed to go. I'll work hard. I'll be a good girl. I'll make good choices. Just show me the way. I've never plotted anything.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Why?
Because I think a career like yours, with what you have done and the diversity of your career.
Well, that's Kevin, the diversity. So if anybody plotted, in a sense, it's Kevin behind the scenes. He was always into diversification. He made me do a lot of stuff like when I had cracked ribs and shattered feet on Dancing with the Stars and I had committed to wrestling at WrestleMania. He was like, you're going. And I'm like, you're supposed to love me. I'm gonna literally shatter in the ring. Are you crazy? And he's like, you promised and you were gonna go. And if you don't go, you're gonna regret it. And he was right. So it was the greatest moment ever.
WWE thing. We have to talk about that because I need to know where that comes from. But wait, I'm trying to make a point here because And you're making it difficult for me because I was so sure that you were going to go, like you were going to have a light bulb moment, but you're fighting me back. And I'm sure that Kevin was and is a huge catalyst. But I just have this belief that the people who pursue even that word is tricky right now in this conversation. People who have an idea about something that they want to do, when they have the success that you've had and continue to have, and the longevity that you've had,
yeah,
I believe that has to come from manifestation of some kind, whether it's conscious or unconscious.
I mean, I'm an incredible manifester for sure.
But you don't think you turned your manifesting attention to your career as much as other things?
No, I mean, I manifested my house.
Okay.
I manifested like my car. Like there were things that I had in my mind that were almost like markers of success. And I manifested what I did for my parents, which is I wanted to give them a better life. Like when Kevin first asked me, like, why do you want to make it so bad? I said, I want to give my parents the life that they never had. And so for me, it was about buying them a house and buying them a car and all of those moments. That was why all this was exciting and worth it to me. I mean, I was also excited to make it, of course. That was like from when I was 13, I wanted to be here and do big things.
Did you want to be famous?
Yeah, I did.
What was it about being famous that appealed to you, do you think? If you can put yourself back in the 13-year-old mind.
I really wanted to be a good role model. And I don't know if that was the pageants that instilled that in me, or if that was already in me, or if it was just a good match. I always wanted to show people that you could make it and be a good girl. Like you didn't have to do all the things that people thought you had to do. And yeah, like I had a recent moment at a church function where these girls that I grew up with were now adults with kids. And they were like, you really were such a great role model. And now for our kids, I'm like, oh, I did it. Okay, that was cool. So.
I love that. But I feel like you I just feel like there had to be some fire, whether it was like even to say yes to acting. So when you just did your first acting role, was that Kevin saying you should do this? Or was it you saying, I want to act, and so I'm going to go? Did you get an agent, and did you pursue?
I did have an agent, yeah, and he really believed in me. And so I remember he put me up for Fantastic Four. I think that was like the first kind of big one. But yeah, no, I did. I wanted to do everything. I just didn't know. And because I got that job so quickly, I hadn't even finished college. I was like, okay, we're going here. And then I was doing serious news, and I'm in, the slums of Africa and interviewing the president over here, and I'm at the election, over here. And so I was doing so many cool things. And then when I went to Entertainment Tonight, I was like, whoa, okay, now I'm interviewing celebrities everywhere. And then I started doing little roles like I did in Fantastic Four, One Tree Hill, and that was really fun. And everything just kind of was happening. And I just, Kevin would fight because I also was scared. So when I got the show One Tree Hill, they didn't want to let me do it. And he's, calling the boss. He's like, oh, she's doing it. I was like, and I'm just like, scared in the background.
The bosses of the show that you were contracted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.